Hello everyone, and welcome to Production Line. My name is Steven Marqueteros, and today we are taking a nice new look at a game that I've been wanting to play for a while. This is one of those games that Justin came up to me with and he said, "This looks awesome. This looks like a game that you would really enjoy playing," and after watching some videos of some other people play it, I think this is fantastic. This is made by Positech Games. They're the same people that put together Democracy 3, which we used to play on this channel. And that game is a lot of fun, and so we were able to get our hands on a copy of this, which is currently an alpha, and this dude is pumping out alphas so ridiculously fast that literally every time I would come here to try and record this and try to learn about the game a little bit, by the next time I came back, I had to download another launcher so I could update the game, literally like every week. It was crazy. Alright, so essentially, this game doesn't have a whole lot to it right now. I mean, it's for what it is. It's pretty well thought out. It's pretty fleshed out. You know, there isn't like a whole campaign type tutorial thing, at least from what I've saw. So we're gonna go into a mega factory, and I'm gonna explain a little bit about what the premise behind Production Line is. So I've heard that this game is, I guess, kind of like Big Pharma and Factorio. I've never played either of those games, but I'm led to believe that they're actually pretty awesome because, you know, if people are talking about them, they must be some pretty decent darn games. And so essentially what you do is you construct your own cars as fast and efficiently as possible. Of course, we don't have the time running right there because we're just, you know, wasting time staring at a gigantic empty floor, spending our money on stuff. Look at that, we're already $446 in the hole. And so yeah, we essentially have to establish a self-sustained car manufacturing line. And I think that's a pretty awesome thing for us to achieve. So from what I remember, things we're going to need to do this is we're going to need to assemble chassis, we're going to need to fit the body of the car, we're going to need to paint the car, we're going to need to fit the engine in the car, fit the accessories into the car, fit the electronics, do a good old quality check, because, you know, that's my job in real life, is to go around and make sure everything's alright. I mean, it's a lot more boring than that. It's a lot of paperwork and stuff, but it's fun. And then we finally export it to sell to the peasants, so they can buy some highly overpriced vehicles from us, while we also get to research stuff and deal with the logistics of setting up an entire factory. Alright, so let's get into this. The first thing we're going to need, and yes, I do know just how intense this game's music is. I'm probably going to have it, like, way muted down in the background just because, like, it's super awesome to listen to, but, yeah, I think I'm going to have to turn it... Oh, I already had my volume, like, set to the lowest it possibly could. Alright, so let's get to the chassis assembly. Let's plop her down. I'm not sure what exactly the best way to go about doing this is, so... You know, I'm still kind of new to this, so we'll go there. Okay, so this is going to establish our chassis. I meant to actually get a calculator before the start of the episode out. I don't know what happened to my graphing calculator. I had it laying around, and then it's disappeared on me. It's very hard to take chemistry tests when you don't have a graphing calculator on hand. It's very hard to do calculus, too. So it'll take us 12 minutes and 52 seconds to assemble one chassis. And once we do that, and that jumps off the production line, we have to get that immediately onto the fit body as fast as we can. However, this takes 31 minutes and 40 seconds. So as you'll see, the process is about 3 times as long. That's a rough estimate. I'm not gonna go too far into the depths and details of logistics for this. If you guys want to see a whole series on Production Line, if you think that would be a really cool idea, you can always post that down below and we'll run through it. I'm sure it wouldn't actually take too long because there are only so much space you can actually use to this and so many things you can actually achieve. So I'm going to try to build a basic efficiency line, just trying to manufacture the things as fast as I can. So yeah, we're going to be dropping a lot of money on stuff like fitting the body. So we'll put one there, and oh, I wonder if holding shift would place that better for me, but it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to have 2 fit bodies there. Wow, painting also takes a ridiculously long amount of time, so I guess... We'll also have those cars go immediately into their painting counterparts, just like such. And then we're gonna need to fit engines. Or I think I don't want this to become the bottleneck zone. Just through that, but I think I want it to loop back around because the processes do begin to shorten down in time once we head on from this. So I know you guys think I'm probably crazy by the way that I'm designing this factory right now, but trust me, good work and good design efforts have been placed into how to construct this. All right, just give me the trust on that. Give me the trust. That's all I'm asking for. All right, and this is going to be the second fit engine here. And then we're going to need to fit accessories. This is only 14 minutes, so I'm hoping this will run pretty darn quick. Oh, I know it'll run pretty quick. All right, so we'll place that there. And then we are going to need to fit electronics, which is a really quick process. So we'll literally have that one just go right off the line from the other one. And then run it through a quick quality check. which is a little bit on the slow side, but I think they will be just fine, and we'll place that right there, so then when we export it, we can export it right out through there. And now we get to match it all up with conveyor belts. Yes, conveyor belts, the great conveyor belts. Everything is constructed here at the chassis assembly zone, where essentially all of the bodies are created, and then they're pumped through the rest of the system. So we fit the body, then we paint them, then we put all the engines in them, fit the accessories, electronics, quality check, and export. And that's basically how Dodge Them All works in a nutshell. That's what we do. Okay, so we have all the actual lines hooked up now. I think we have everything. Look at all these nice laborers standing around doing nothing for us. But one of the things we are going to need is we're going to need to supply materials to this. It's one thing to just have all the stations set up to do that like that, but you actually got to get materials, you got to convey them in, which is, I think, a cool part of how this game operates, is that, you have to actually manage resources and stuff. It isn't too great because, sometimes it can be a little bit constrictive. Sometimes, like, the system doesn't work quite efficiently, and I'm not sure if in real life there's actually resource importers on these kind of conveyor things where they literally zoom across and down into those areas. So, yeah, I don't know if that's realistic or not. I've never worked in car manufacturing, so anyone who's worked in car manufacturing, I am more than happy to hear your opinions. All right, so now one of the hard tasks that we have to do is we have to hook all of these things up. So how I'm going to do this is probably the least efficient way possible. And so I think after spending about $1 million, that is going to be a successful production line. The cars are actually going to be, cars are actually going to be rolling off of that. So and the game has crashed. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we wanted. Alright, so welcome back to Production Line. Definitely didn't have to just edit out a bunch of space where we restarted the game because the game decided to corrupt itself. As I said, the game is, I believe, in alpha, like 1.16 or something crazy like that. It's pretty darn early on in the game. There's not a whole lot of actual documentation on this yet. I mean, honestly, we should be pretty darn glad that the developer, I forgot what his face is actually called, but Positech Games is actually allowing us to play this in an early alpha stage. It's a fantastic game. So, in the magic of editing, we are going to fantastically cut to a fully reconstructed factory that I definitely did not just spend a couple minutes reconstructing from scratch for the purposes of completely rebuilding this thing. However, it is, very important that we have good quality here. And so hopefully this time when the game decides to save, so let me actually get a good save down. Let me just call that good save right there. The game does not crash on me and we lose all of our work that we have thus far performed. Alright, so we'll just let time go on this one, and hopefully that about $1 million that we have spent will not go to waste. Look at this car. The car is under construction. The robots, the fantastic little bros, are working on constructing their little thing. It's going down into the fit body section right now. It's starting to come together. It's looking kind of cool. It's looking like a, I'm not really sure, like maybe like a Toyota-ish. No, it's a Dodge Them All brand. I do believe that once these cars are actually finished in the manufacturing process, we get to name them, and then they actually get to be sold on the free market, or I guess what we assume is the free market, because we don't know the entire lore behind this game. I mean, we could technically be living in some sort of socialist paradise right now, where, we're manufacturing cars for the government, and we've been assigned $3 million to produce a factory line to meet, like, car production quotas, but who knows? We are technically manufacturing the cheapest car known to mankind right now that has literally no airbags or anything, no radio. It's basically just metal with some seats and some wheels on it with a speedometer, and that is pretty much as good as we need here. I mean, who really honestly needs that much more in a car? Alright, so we got a nice teal-colored one. I think that's teal. Turquoise, maybe? It's going to be coming off of the production line pretty soon. We got it in the fit accessories line right now. So it's getting very near to completion. Fit Electronics going through quality checks right now. And it looks like we're going to be on our way right out the door with the people making phone calls. There we go. We get unnamed design. We have a nice wing in the back. I think that is pretty darn cool. It looks like we actually have a radio antenna on here, but I don't remember actually having radios installed in these. So we'll see. I'm not sure 100% what to change on these things here. These all look really fancy and really complex, and they look like they're very prone to bugging out and making many errors in the game, considering that this is still an alpha. Let me call this, what should I call this car? I'm going to call it the Dodge Rover. because it looks like something that you could use, the Dodge Robber. Dude, I like that better, the Dodge Robber. Literally what all of the gangster thieves are using these days to rob banks. There we go, look at that. We've already sold 5 all time. That's pretty good. Look at that. All right, so basically what we need to work on now, since we actually have a reasonable source of income, we'll hope that we eventually start pulling in a profit. We're still operating at a loss, is we need to do this faster. We have to get these cars out the door a lot faster than we're making them right now, so we can truly begin to make a lot of money off of this. And so the one way we're going to have to do that is by making some research offices. I have no idea what a research center is. Apparently, it has a much higher power demand. Oh yeah, that completely reminds me that we did not build any sort of power whatsoever, and I'm not 100% sure how to do that. We don't actually have that unlocked yet, so that'll probably be one of the things that we're going to want to end up researching at some point. We have an efficiency of about 60% right now, so that means that 60% of the time we are currently operating, and there isn't much backlog going on. That is going to start decreasing rapidly as these chassis aren't being processed fast enough. There's a little bit of time that we're waiting for resources, and a little bit of time waiting for next slot. But primarily, we don't have too much time being spent on waiting for a new vehicle. And one of the things we can do is by upgrading this. So now that we have Extra Robots 1 unlocked, it's like $1,800 too. That's, I mean, look at that, speed plus 10%. That's pretty impressive. So we can really start to cut down on the time that this takes us, so we can get these things out even faster. And that will help us a lot in the long run, even though we are going to end up spending a little bit more in the power department temporarily. Look at that. I love that color. I would buy this car, you know, for whatever purposes I needed it for. It looks like a very reliable car, manufactured with very high-tech methodology. And, I mean, look at that. Some of the beautiful animations in this game. I like this. I like the art style. It's very well done for a 2D game. But, you know, I guess when you're living in 2017 and you decide to make a 2D game like this, you've got to put some serious effort into the art style. And it really pays off here. It feels very well done, in my opinion. This isn't really a game review, to be honest with you. This special episode on a Wednesday is more of like just like an introduction, me playing a game as like a midweek special type thing, not a Steve reviews games and criticizes them for being awful. No, this is we're not that mean. I'm not as mean as that. Everything is looking beautiful, and if we had the money, I would probably end up setting up an additional production line. Look, I actually used the title of the game right there. I'd set up an additional production line so we can get to making cars even faster than we're outputting them right now on the simple production line. Simply for the fact that, you know, the more cars you make, the more you end up eventually being able to sell them for. I'm wondering if we can still keep marking up the price, because we did a premium of 5% on that, and it's actually still selling relatively well. So let's see if we put up 10% on that, how much it affects us, because we could potentially pull in more money off of that. I don't want to be selling these things for too cheap, albeit they are literally the cheapest car that we can build. So if they don't start selling, then we'll see that there is obviously a problem with them, and we'll need to bump that up. Let's build some power plants. These things, I think, are expensive up front, but they hopefully should pay off for themselves and allow us to make a profit in the future. I'm just going to build them down at this kind of like area of the plant here, where they're not going to bother anybody. All right. Just place down a power producing facility. The power created will offset your electricity bill and should be cheaper than buying power. Well, that's pretty good. Automatically import and pay for your power at the usual cost when a surplus cannot be sold. Oh, darn. I didn't know that I was not building a utility company here. All right, they should have called it a utility line. That's what it should have been. You know, manufacturing your own power plant, that type of thing. That's actually a really cool game idea. All right, hey, Posnet Games, don't steal that from me. All right, I've claimed that now. That's my own intellectual property. I think that's how that works. I'm not 100% sure. All right, wow, we're gonna have to build quite a few of these things to actually get production up, or power production up to par with what we're actually using here. That's a lot of engines for that. What are those, V8s? I think. I'm not an engine expert in any way. Alright, so I think we're running within the defined limits, so hopefully we should be not spending nearly as much energy on power, and that's going to present itself as... So one of the ideas that I was having in order to add on to this and keep up our production, while I do end up choosing another one of these right now, is that we're going to be adding an additional line to this. But yeah, this is going to be your general introduction to what the game production line is all about. It's about manufacturing cars and building up your production line to be pretty darn successful. This is a pretty fun game to play, and I'm sure I will play this a little bit more into the future, and I will try... I like how that car literally just did a slide there as it went across that. And I will sure to keep up with the progress of this game too, because now that we have it, I don't see why not. I don't see why it would be a bad idea to just check up on this every once in a while and do it as kind of a midweek special. So yeah. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, make sure you click that red subscribe button down below. We'll make sure to post more videos about this throughout the upcoming years. And make sure you give us a thumb and tell us how you're doing in the comment section. Make sure you give us ideas on what to do next, because that would be fantastic. My name is Steven Marqueteros, and I will see you guys next time.